Can Fintech be a dominant force in the Korean financial industry? That and more on Korea Technology Weekly. Hi, I'm your host, Dr. J.R. Reagan. In this episode, we'll be discussing South Korea's opportunity to take the next step forward in the Fintech industry. The rate of South Koreans visiting banks for money withdrawal, deposit, and transfer has been down thanks to a growing number of online and mobile banking users. As people of all ages use smartphones for bank business, South Korean banks expand online banking services, including dedicated smartphone apps. South Korea has a burgeoning fintech industry. The country's open banking system was launched in December 2019. Fintech firms can access bank payment networks and pay lower transaction fees through several open API initiatives. Fintech was also named one of the top priorities for South Korea in 2020. The government pledged its full support for the industry and set aside a budget of US $16 million to grow the sector, which is up 96.1% from 2019. According to Korea's central bank data, the rate of customers visiting offline banks to withdraw and deposit money was 7.4%, the lowest in 15 years, while the rate of those using online or mobile banking services reached 64.3%. The usage rate of automated teller machines or ATMs has decreased by 6.4% on quarter. The Bank of Korea predicted that the rate of people visiting offline banks will decrease further as smartphone banking apps provide convenient and quick loan services. About 81 trillion Korean won worth of transactions were made using digital payment systems operated by digital banks and online shopping services. Kakao Pay, operated by the country's web service giant Kakao, is a key player in South Korea's digital payment market with more than 20 million users who make transactions worth 4 trillion Korean won each month. Samsung Pay allows Galaxy phone users to store credit and check card information inside their phones so that they can conveniently make transactions at offline stores without actual credit cards. Naver, the operator of South Korea's largest web portal, runs the biggest digital payment system. Naver links digital payment and shopping services to provide special benefits such as cash points. South Koreans used fintech company apps nearly 9 times more than those operated by traditional banks every month last year, suggesting rapid growth of the digital finance market driven by its young and tech-savvy population. Mobile users of South Korea's top 5 fintech apps, such as Payment Solution, Kakao Pay, Toss, and Kakao Bank, used the apps 225 times a month on average last year, tantamount to an average of 7 times every day. The monthly figure is 8.9 times higher than the number of times mobile users utilize the top 5 banking apps on a monthly basis, such as those run by Uri Bank and Hana Bank, 2 of the largest in South Korea. The gap between usages of fintech and conventional apps appears to be the widest in the world. Kakao Pay subscribers, for instance, collectively spent 54.8 million minutes on the app last year in total, up 510% from 2019. On average, one subscriber spent 5.2 minutes a month, up from 2.6 minutes from a year earlier. Mobile users accessed the app 9.1 times a day on average last year, up from 5.7 times from the previous year. Korean users became more dependent on easy-to-use mobile services run mostly by emerging fintech firms under the pandemic situation that started early last year, according to market watchers. A mobile money transfer service as well as a small change investment have garnered popularity during the pandemic as people increasingly use mobile services than offline ones. In Korea, the so-called Donghak Ant movement, which refers to a stock buying spree driven by amateur retail investors during the bearish market last year, also helped increase the use of mobile stock trading apps. The entire time that mobile users spent on stock trading apps grew 120% on year in 2020, much higher than the global average of 55%. As the government has been trying to relax strict financial regulations in South Korea, the local market expects to see a proliferation of convenient mobile services. Most of the nation's rising fintech firms like KakaoPay, Toss, and KBank are rolling out new services frequently. KakaoPay Securities, an online-only brokerage under KakaoPay, for instance, has launched a product that enables users to put leftover change in exchange-traded funds, targeting young customers who hope to save seed money for larger investments. The South Korean Financial Services Commission, or FSC, is experimenting with the digital sandbox concept to test new fintech products and services under development. The move is part of a strategy to further develop the fintech market in the region. The use of a digital sandbox will enable fintech service providers to trial their new products on the market while consumers can find new services. The isolation of a sandbox system means new programs can be piloted and monitored independently of other services. The sandbox environment also provides support to services and products that are in an early stage of development. The process generates information that is critical to streamlining operations and modifying products to ensure that they are fully market ready. Data has become increasingly pivotal to the way firms operate and engage with each other and the consumers that they serve. The FSC plans to promote financial innovation and digital finance through the digital sandbox concept, which will enable fintechs to test their new business ideas virtually. There are also further plans to improve the management of the regulatory sandbox program. The FSC is also keen to establish a more comprehensive support system through legislation that will focus on nurturing fintechs through 2021. Part of the initiative is to promote more use of online fintech services across all industries. The FSC is also working on initiatives to encourage the use of big data analytics and enhance authentication and identity verification systems for financial services. Furthermore, the FSC has agreed to tighten up its rules on network separation to facilitate telecommunication by staff at fintechs and financial institutions. Rules on data privacy to improve consumer rights to data and ensure they are fully informed of any data transfer risks will also be under scrutiny. Additionally, new infrastructure will be set up through 2021 to provide smoother convergence of data stored at financial institutions and across different industries. Consumer safety guidelines and new test beds dedicated to AI-based financial services will also promote the development of such dedicated services. In one example, the Seoul Metropolitan Government has announced that it will join hands with KB Financial, Korea Growth Investment Corporation, and Hongik University to pool their combined resources and know-how in a joint public-private collaboration to foster fintech startups and encourage the development of a local fintech industry. Seoul has been laying the foundation to support fintech startups for some time. It has promoted the Seoul Fintech Lab in Yeouido, the city's leading financial and investment banking district, as a hub of innovation, housing 100 startups and representatives from the Financial Supervisory Service, Korea Intellectual Property Office, Korea Fintech Industry Association, and KEB Hana Bank. The city hopes that its agreement will boost trilateral cooperation between the public, academic, and industrial sectors. The Seoul Fintech Lab has become the largest nurturing ground for fintech startups in the nation since its inauguration in 2018, with just 27 startups. It now creates a flourishing fintech ecosystem housing 100 fintech businesses and some 1,000 financial innovators. Through partnership agreement, Seoul and its partners have pledged to make use of their various financial and administrative expertise and networks to provide comprehensive support, ranging from business identification, investment location, and overseas forays, as well as mutual cooperation to boost the fintech industry, such as R&D support through industrial and academic collaboration, and operating internships to recruit outstanding specialists. As proliferating demand for contactless services across industries and the government's drive to nurture new businesses to spur economic growth, South Korea's fintech industry now enjoys an unexpected opportunity to take the next step forward, to become a dominant force in the Korea financial sector. That's all for this week's show. Follow me on Twitter or LinkedIn at Idea Explorer or my website ideaexplorer.com. Feel free to leave comments or suggestions about the show and tune in next week for more news and trends about Korea technology.